Hi, hello, and welcome! Thanks once again for joining me this week. My name is Megan Rosendahl. I am the crafting coach, and I have a really fun project in store for us for this week. Do you have any old t-shirts that are too small or too old, but you just can't seem to part with them? Then this project offers the perfect solution. This week, we're going to be turning a t-shirt into a pillow. This is the perfect way to preserve an old t-shirt that has a lot of memories, and with this method, you don't need a sewing machine. So here is what you're going to need for this week's project. An old t-shirt, cluster fiber stuffing or something similar to it. I got this entire bag at Walmart for about $5, and I can use it to make at least 2 pillows. And any color embroidery floss. You'll also need a needle and a scissors. And I'll show you a neat trick to make even stitches around the outside, so grab a pen or a marker for that. We'll start off by spreading out our t-shirt nice and flat to make some even cuts. Give yourself a couple of inches below the print or image and cut off the bottom part of the shirt. Then do the same to the top. Some shirts don't lay flat, like this one that flares a bit at the bottom, so when you cut the sides, I recommend cutting just the top layer first, then matching the cut on the back of the shirt to match the cut on front. The next step we'll do is create a decorative border around the pillow called a blanket stitch. To prep, I usually fold the edges of the shirt in just a bit so they're nice and even. I'll take a couple extra needles to hold the edges in place, and then I'll move these around as I move around my shirt. Now we can go ahead and string our thread through our needle. I recommend starting with a piece of floss that's about 4 feet in length. Thread one end through the needle, match it up to the other end, and pull the needle to the exact middle of the floss. And you'll be left with a piece that's about 2 feet long, something that's nice and easy to work with. Once you've got your needle thread, we're going to put a single knot at the very end of the floss. Okay, so now we can start our border. To begin, pull your 2 pieces of shirt apart slightly at the end and thread the needle through the bottom piece only. Pull all the way until the knot you made is nice and tight. Next, take your needle and insert it into the top piece and through the bottom piece in the same spot that you made your first pass. Pull the floss tight, but not so tight that the fabric ruffles or bunches. You'll then send your needle under the loop stitch that you just made. Just poke the needle under the stitch, going sideways along the 2 layers. This will anchor your thread. Okay, now we'll make our first stitch. Poke your needle down through the top and bottom layers, however far apart you want your stitches. I recommend about 1/4 to 1/2 inch apart, but don't go any further apart than that. When you're pulling your floss tight, thread the needle through the loop of the thread. This will create a nice even stitch along the very edge of the t-shirt. 1 down, only a couple hundred more to go. But first we'll pause here and I'll show you a really neat trick on how to make nice, even stitches. Take your pen or marker and make a line on the top crease on your finger. Measure where you made your first stitch on the fabric and make a second line there. Then, as you're moving forward, use these 2 lines as a guide to tell you how far apart to make your stitches. When I saw this trick on Pinterest, I was like, duh. We're going to copy this same pattern over and over again until we run out of floss. You'll know you're almost running out when the loop gets a bit hard to make. When that happens, send the floss through just the top layer and you'll be left with this angled piece. Cut off the floss from the needle and make a knot close to the fabric. Make it tight enough so there's very little slack. Keep in mind though that you'll want some room to make your new stitch. Measure out a new string of floss and rethread it just as we did before. Start in the spot you left off by again going through just the bottom layer and pulling tight. Take the needle and thread and thread it through the angled piece that we made and pull that tight too. Now you've just made an even transition and we're ready to keep moving forward the same way. When you get to a corner, I like to make a regular stitch and then send my needle through the exact same spot and pull the fabric tight on the other side of the corner. Corners will be a little harder to push the needle through because of the extra fabric that's there, but I think that's okay because it makes the corners that much stronger and less likely to come apart. Keep doing these stitches over and over again until you've gone around almost the entire shirt. Just leave yourself an area that's about 5 to 6 inches wide at the end. We'll use this space to stuff our shirt full of the stuffing. Take chunks of the stuffing and start inserting it into the pillow. Be sure to move the stuffing into the corners for a nice full look. Once you're satisfied with how it looks, resume your stitches. This will be the hardest part because you're doing the stitch and trying to keep the stuffing inside the pillow, but just keep in mind that it's the same stitch pattern. At the end, make your final stitch the same width apart as the others. Pull the floss through the pillow and you'll be left with a gap along the edge. Simply slide the needle sideways underneath your first stitch and pull tight. Loop the needle through the last stitch again to make a knot and pull tight, and just snip off the extra floss as close to the knot as you can. And we have ourselves a pillow. Cute, right? This is a great activity to do while you're watching TV or listening to music. Trust me, before you know it, you'll be done. What a great way to keep a memory forever. Any concert lovers out there? You can also make your own custom pillow, like this one that I did for a friend. I took a ticket stub from one of her favorite concerts, had it blown up on a white shirt, and created a pillow out of that. The possibilities are endless. I want to thank you once again so much for taking the time to watch this video. As always, I'll be back next Saturday with a brand new project just for you. We'll tear it apart, we'll break it down, I'll tell you what to do, I'll tell you what not to do, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun along the way. Be sure to follow me on Pinterest. You can find me under Megan Rosendahl. Also be sure to follow the Aberdeen American News online and on Facebook, where all of the Crafting Coach videos are made available for you. If you have any tips, ideas, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to email me at mrosendahl@aberdeennews.com. We'll see you next Saturday. Bye! Do you like the pillow that I made? Because you can absolutely get the chance to win it. Just go online to aberdeennews.com and fill out the form. And if you're lucky, you can win this craft from me, the Crafting Coach.